Welcome back. Matt Unruh here with Kyle Campbell, head men's basketball coach for the Dodge City Conks. After finishing out their season, Region 6 tournament, a tough loss at Coffeyville. A good matchup between these two teams, West versus East, and guys fall short by 3 in that one. But sounds like you guys had a good shot in this one.
Yeah, we played well. We were tuned in. We played a full 40 minutes, physically and mentally, and led the whole game except for the last 31 seconds of the game. Just came down to us. We missed some free throws down the stretch to open it up a little bit, and we had some calls go against us. But it was just one of those games. We were up 9-10 the whole game, and they kind of made a run late, which I knew they would do at home. We just struggled a little bit down the stretch, converting at the very end, but it wasn't from a lack of our guys playing hard or execution like that. We just, we didn't make some shots and we didn't make some free throws. We lead the conference in free throw percentage out here on the West, and it was one of those days where for some reason they weren't going in. I think we ended up 24 for 37 from the line, so we were getting there, we just didn't finish.
Tough loss, Coach. Shot 46% from the field on the day, 2 of 10 from three-point land, so you didn't take a whole lot of three-pointers. And then 24-37 from the free throw line, about 65% there. Looks like a pretty balanced scoring attack for you as well. 18 points led by E.J. Eve and 14 for Larry Beckett, and then Amir Jackson adding 13. It kind of seems to be the case all season long.
Yeah, those 3 guys have led us in scoring basically the whole year, and they both, all 3 of them played, pretty well for us. And it was an interesting game, like we talked about before on last week. I coached there for 6 years, and I worked for Coach Herc, and it was one of those deals where we both come in and didn't want to play against each other because we knew exactly what we were going to do, and we both ended up doing opposite things of what we normally do. We zoned for 40 minutes, and they zoned, which they never do, just to try to throw each other off so we didn't have to guard each other. But it was one of those games where you like going back, and it was great to see all the people that I worked with for 6 years and playing against them. But it's just one of those games where it was comes down to the stretch, and I feel like we should have won the game, and it was just a tough way to send our sophomores out. I just wanted to be able to coach this team another week if we could have got to Wichita and seen what could have happened.
Well, you mentioned going back to your old stomping grounds. Did you get any booze over there when you walked in the gym?
No, it wasn't like that, but it was good. I got to see a lot of people that I spent a lot of time with there, and they're good people over there. I mean, they treat me just like I was still there working for them. So it was good. Wish the outcome was a little different, but it was nice to go back and see everybody.
Coach, you mentioned going to zone, and it seemed like it worked pretty well. Coffeyville shot about 38%, and 3 of 17 from 3. Just a terrible 3-point.
Yeah, it was just something that
you like to see when you're going to zone. Right?
Yeah, it was just something that we had saw on film that they had struggled with throughout the year, and we hadn't ran a lot of it, and they probably weren't prepared for us to do it. So it worked out well for us. I think that was the least amount of points we gave up for the entire season was that last game. But it's just one of those deals where it just comes down to, we miss a layup here or there, we make a couple free throws here and there, and the outcome's totally different for us. So, but like I said, the guys played a great game. They played hard. They played for each other. And it was just one of those deals we come up a little bit short on the road.
You can't always say that after a loss, where they gave 100% and have a lot of positive things to say after a loss, but that seems to be the case here.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I come away with, feeling like we played really well and played hard. It's just one of those deals where, like I just said, we get a break here or there, and it's a totally changing the game. I mean, there was just some situations that got them on some big runs. I think at around the 8-minute mark, we were up 9 points, and they end up converting a 5-point play, which you never really hear about, where there was a foul called underneath, and there was a kid shot a 3 simultaneously, and they counted the 3, and they went to the free throw line, and they're coming down on one stretch, and goes from a 9-point game to a 4-point game just like that. And those were some big momentum swings, and in the last 30 seconds we're up 1, and the bottom official calls a charge, the top official calls a block, and they talk about it, and it varied either, could have went either way, and they ended up counting the bucket and them going up 2 with 30 seconds to go. So, it's just some situations like that that's out of our control that, but it all comes back to if we make free throws and a couple layups, we end up, not putting ourselves in that situation.
Well, Coach, you finished the year 15-16, I believe.
Yep.
A very young team this year, but full of talent. Graduate 3 sophomores, but it seemed like you relied on a lot of freshmen this year.
Yeah, we did. It was a disappointing second half of the season. I felt like we kind of underachieved, being 11-4 at break. But we had some injuries. We dismissed a guy from the team, and it kind of messed up not messed up, but it broke our rotation and had guys playing different roles for quite a while. But I thought our guys, played hard throughout the second season. There was a lot of games where it was, 1 or 2 point games that we probably should have won, and we just didn't get the breaks like we did the first semester. But going back to, we are a very young team. We graduate 3 sophomores that have done a lot for this program, but we probably have 80% of our scoring coming back for next year's team. And if we can put another couple good pieces around those guys, we're recruiting some very good forwards this year. That's what we lacked this year, was just some size inside. If we can find some guys to put around them, I think we got a chance to be a very good team again next year.
Yeah, like you mentioned, 80% of the scoring coming back, and a lot of those scores coming back with experience this year. And what do you think their opinions of the Jayhawk was after going through that?
They respect it, and they understand how tough it is. And that's the one thing I stress to these guys coming into the second semester is it's a different level than playing your non-conference teams, just because of how well the coaches know each other in this conference and the rivalries that go on and the prestige that goes on in this conference of how good everybody is. They respect it, and they're going to come back even hungrier than this year for next year's team. And the one thing that I like coming back in the next year is we're going to have sophomore guards, and that's big in our league of just having guys that have been through it. And Barton County, not this year, but the year before, they had all sophomore guards. And, in the first year with those guys, they struggled a little bit. Second year, they played for a conference championship, in the region championship, excuse me. And if you have good sophomore guards, that experience is just, you can't teach it. That's very good to have if you can get in those situations.
Well, you got to be striking fear into a lot of the Jayhawk for next year. I think they've seen what your team can do.
Yeah.
And looking forward to a good season next year. How many scholarships? I know you've got 3 sophomores graduating. Do you have a limited number of scholarships?
Yeah, we get a total of 15 total scholarships. We'll have 4 or 5 open up that we'll be able to go out and sign. So, we're sitting in a good situation. We're not out there scrambling at this point. Like we may be doing next year when we're going to have to find 11 guys. Yeah. But we can be pretty selective on who we want to bring in and guys that fit our system and that are just good kids in general. So we've been doing a lot of time of just going out and seeing a lot of kids and being really picky on who we really want to go after come up here in these next couple of weeks.
When's the peak for recruiting, Coach?
Our signing period is April 7th, I believe. April 7th or April 8th. So it's getting really heavy right now. We'll spend the next 2 weeks during sub-state and state on the road, seeing all these Kansas kids that we've been recruiting, and then a couple out-of-state guys. We're going to make a couple trips here after April and go out and see those guys. But signing day's coming up here in the next month and a half. So the next 2 months will be really, really busy for us in the recruiting side of things.
Speaking of sub-states and states, any particular sub-state or states that you and your coaching staff are looking at right now?
A couple local kids. We're recruiting the Morgan Davis kid from Meade High School, and then we're recruiting Grant Meininger from Ashland High School. So those are 2 of the local guys that we've been spending a lot of time with this year, and we're going to follow them as far as they go into the playoffs here. So those would be the 2 local guys that people might know around this area.
Yeah, and seen a lot of at least Morgan Davis, and saw Meininger's kid a little bit in the spa tournament. Should be fun to watch at United Wireless if we can get them to come here.
Yeah, exactly. Those are 2 guys that I think would be very good for our program, and if we can get them here, it just brings those fan bases from those communities that are close around and just draws more people to our games. And you want good kids. Those are both very good basketball players, but on the other side, they're both very good kids. So those are the type of kids we want in our program.
Matt Unruh with Coach Kyle Campbell, head men's basketball coach for the Conchs. And Coach, any final thoughts from this year overall, whether team met expectations or things to build on for next year? Your thoughts?
You know, I think we kind of left the door wide open for us just because of how well we played first semester and we struggled second semester of the guys wanting to get to the next level and being at the top of the conference. And I think we can do those things with the guys we have coming back and the kids that we're recruiting. But, you know, these guys, we're going to give them the next couple weeks off before we start our spring workouts. And, you know, guys are in there already this morning, you know, shooting around. And you know, it's just, you want guys like that love the game and want to be in there working to get better. And those are the guys that are going to make your programs better. So, you know, I liked being around our guys. You know, this year I didn't dread going to practice or, you know, stuff like that. And the three sophomores that we had, Jelani Carpenter, Delvon Rencher, and Isaiah Richardson, those guys have invested a lot of their time and effort into what we're trying to build here. And I appreciate those guys to death of what they did for us. And they laid the foundation. Now we've just got to keep building from there.
Well, looking forward to next year as a fun group to watch this year, Coach. Appreciate the time.
I appreciate it.
And good luck on the recruiting trails.
Thanks, Matt.
Matt Unruh here with Kyle Campbell, the head coach of the men Conch basketball team. Thanks again for tuning in to Dodge City Community College Broadcasting.